fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, joins me now from Tel Aviv. Good to have you on the show, sir. I'm a bit confused over the timing of this trip by the U.S. Secretary of State in the middle of a global pandemic. The former U.S. ambassador to Israel said that the reason of this mid-pandemic trip was not to coordinate COVID-19, but rather to coordinate the annexation. This would be a big boost for Trump in the upcoming November elections, would it not?
Well, I think neither reason for this, as you mentioned, unorthodox trip in terms of timing is likely the real reason why Pompeo got on a flight from Washington and is going to be on the ground here for a mere 8 hours, and then he'll return back to the States. It could have all been done over Zoom, over a secure line, but he chose to actually come to be here physically. I think, number one, the optics and the politics in both America and in Israel were likely the primary reason, as opposed to, say, policy. Trump and the Trump administration want to, I think, project an image of business as usual, especially in terms of the overall pandemic and the crisis over there. And then here in Israel, tomorrow, there's going to be a new Israeli government being sworn in. I think the timing isn't a coincidence. I think this is a show of support for Israel actually getting a government and resolving a year-and-a-half political deadlock, and to, as they mentioned earlier this morning, Netanyahu and Pompeo, to reaffirm the special relationship and the bonds between Israel and the United States.
Okay, Neri, I'm wondering what the Israeli stance is. I mean, the promise of annexation was, I believe, a campaign promise by Benjamin Netanyahu, but now that he's secured 18 months at the top as role in the prime ministership, will he risk sort of a diplomatic fallout, or just keep the status quo?
No, I think Netanyahu has promised it over the past year and a half on the campaign trail. He specifically made annexation a point in the coalition agreement he reached with his erstwhile rival, Benny Gantz, who will now be the incoming defense minister and in future perhaps a prime minister. So Netanyahu, I believe, wants to move forward on annexation as early as July. And that's written in the agreement, and Benny Gantz and his faction within the government don't have veto over that policy issue. The real question is what Netanyahu actually wants to annex, whether it will be, as he promised, all the settlements in the West Bank, or perhaps settlement blocks or something a bit more conservative that's more in the quote-unquote consensus in Israel that he might feel won't spur the diplomatic and international backlash that you mentioned. But it will likely be as early as this coming summer, and it will likely generate a severe response both internationally and perhaps on the ground here from the Palestinians.
All right, Neri Zilber, thank you very much for waiting. I do appreciate your analysis, but I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Neri Zilber from the Washington Institute for Near East Policy.